Hello and welcome to another update video about Ethereum. Ethereum is now slightly above $3,300. It's pushing higher as well, in line with the forecast here on the daily time frame. So there's absolutely no change. It's been following this chart for more than a year, 2 years, 3 years nearly, nicely. So this is the daily roadmap bullish chart. Should take us to 8 to 12K eventually, yeah, in the bull market. I did receive a comment yesterday, obviously different numbers being thrown around, 8 to 12K, 4K, obviously it might be a bit confusing. It's more like, we have a bull market target, and it's at least a projection, okay? Obviously, in terms of target, this is where it should get to if conditions remain as they are now, okay? So this is what the market should follow if certain parameters are being respected. And, we are looking for possible exhaustion in this bull market between 8 to 12K. This is still very, not uncertain, but, well, yeah, it is uncertain, but it's sort of more, it might be 7,500, it might be 18,000 even. So we just have to, this is sort of a rough projection, which we can specify further as we get closer. Now and then we obviously have sort of the short-term, medium-term targets and projections for the immediate upside. Yeah. So I'm looking at the 4K area next, obviously, just using these as milestones to give you an idea where we should be heading next. And also where the invalidation points are and everything. The idea was, and it was very well communicated, that if we get a break above 3,100, a sustained break, then we don't need to look necessarily for a deep wave 2 pullback any longer, because at some points these coins just go. Okay, they just go and they will run longer than you think it's reasonable. And then, I always see people talk about the overheated RSI and everything. I mean, let's look at it. Let's look at the RSI. Yeah, it's overbought. But it's normal that in a third wave or the third of a third wave, you get the strongest reading, for example, okay? It depends on the time frame as well. The 4-day chart now overbought, okay? But yeah, I mean, it was overbought already. Where were we? Here, wasn't it? Yeah, here. In August 2020, okay? So if you use the overbought RSI as an indicator and say, okay, this can't go on for much longer, and then you exit, and then you miss all this. So that's why I don't use it. Overbought is useless in crypto. It really is. Oversold, great entries to be found. Yeah, great entries to be found. Typically oversold on the daily or on the larger time frames, great. But overbought, not in crypto. Okay, so it's just the sentiment can be too strong in uptrends. That might change at some point, but so far in previous cycles, overbought didn't really help people who used it to exit positions, because it just means it's a strong trend. We normally want that from an Elliott Wave point of view, in a third wave rally, we want a high RSI, and we only want the bearish divergences to appear in a fifth wave. Pretty much, it's very simplified now, but it depends on the time frame and structure. But yeah, I mean, looking at this, I'm not entirely sure about the micro count because we have so many shadow pullbacks only. But circle wave 3. For circle wave 3, I mean, the first ideal target is at 4,060, but it probably goes higher because the subwaves are obviously here, and we might not, I mean, I might be wrong about the micro count, so I rather tend to use the FIBs as well. So 4,060 is the first ideal target. Then we have 4,529 as the next ideal target. It just means that really, if this is circle wave 3, it should really ideally get to 4,060. If it ends below that, I wouldn't really trust it. It's something different then. Okay, so it should really go higher. The next FIB level is 3,416 on the daily, and then we have the 3,580 level as the next structural resistance. So let's go to the, I wanted to share with you the ETH BTC chart as well. And I can only warn about getting too small with your positions in a third wave rally. I mean, everybody needs to decide for themselves. But okay, so this is now interesting. So ETH BTC has come down into a support area. The question is now, okay, is this going to form a nice ABC structure? Typically an A wave reaches sort of the 38.2 retracement level. So obviously here we had a 5-wave move up. Yeah, ETH is outperforming Bitcoin. Now pullback, but I give it a chance. This could only be the pullback in an overall uptrend. So it's going to be interesting because A wave down, then we might see from this region a B wave rally and the C wave down, but maybe it's going to do the wave 2 in one go. Below 0.053, I have to change this assumption. It reacted here to this support area nicely, and we said, okay, maybe this is another 1-2 setup. Looks good actually. It's doing what it needs to do. Would like to see a B wave actually at some point, but maybe it's doing the wave 2 in one go. And the next move up means that Ether has a lot of room to go, always outperforming Bitcoin. So it might not be a bad spot to shuffle some BTC into ETH, but everybody has to decide that for themselves. I mean, for me, I would rather wait to do that until we have a proper breakout, but that is depending on, because it could still fail here. It could still fail here, and then Bitcoin continues to outperform. But also looking at the USD charts, it seems like Ether has more room to the upside than Bitcoin. Never say never, of course. But yeah, Bitcoin is very strong, very strong. I think soon we're going to see much further altcoin rallies. Yeah. Because, when Bitcoin runs, typically when, there's a bit of exhaustion, money starts to spill over to those altcoins. And then looking at the short term for ETH, where do we have the chart? Really not much change from the last update. I highlighted to you that this wave 1 ideally stretches a little higher because it didn't really look complete yet. It did stretch a little higher, so what I have to do is to adjust the micro support just slightly. It's now between 2,964 and 3,140. So this is wave 1 of the larger third wave. And the idea is we push higher. We push higher. If a pullback occurs in wave 2, again, it could be shallow again, but if one occurs, it could be an opportunity. And the 2,964 level is basically the lowest bullish support that I have here for this 1-2-1-2 setup, which means this is normally the level against which you need to measure your risk, right? However, there's no guarantee for a pullback, not in crypto, not in a third wave rally. But it is the support area we can track to understand when the scenarios are changing. Okay, that's my update about Ether. Hope you liked the update. If you did, please hit the like button, leave a comment, and subscribe. And if you really like the content, then please check out the channel membership. Also, make sure that you follow us on Instagram and Twitter for additional content. Thanks a lot for watching. Bye-bye.